That was neat.
Like that one?
Yeah, I like the other one better, I think, but that one's all right.
That was good.
So here we are. It's episode 51. This is Cowboy Shit with Ted and Wacey. We're back. It's been a while since we did a show now.
It's been a while since we did a house pod.
Yeah, because we did the 50th show. Thanks again to Don Johansson, Chad Bestplug for being on the 50th. We had a hell of a time. That was a lot of fun.
And our friends at Smith Built.
Yeah, thanks to Brian Hansen and the boys.
That's a beautiful building.
Isn't it sweet?
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's really awesome. So we got a really kick-ass show there, and here we are now, back at the house pod.
HQ.
Just got some KD on the way over here.
Some KD at HQ.
I'm excited.
We're
gonna have to take a break here. We're like 30 seconds in, but we're gonna take a break for some KD.
We can KD in as we go.
It's a Sunday. No, then you're gonna hear like trying to eat.
Do you chew with your?
It's just arrived.
Do you chew with your mouth open?
It just arrived. Oh man, I don't know what to say here.
We can just we'll get through this. It's only like not very long. We have to.
Okay, hold on. Hold on. It's probably too hot to eat anyway. Yeah, you don't want to burn your mouth.
I hate when you. That's like one of the worst things ever is when you burn the roof of your mouth. It sucks.
Like, you know what I hate even worse? Tim Hortons and their shitty sandwiches that wreck the top of your mouth with the crusty ass bread.
You don't like toast.
No, it's gonna be like mediocre toast.
Your mouth is pretty soft then.
Yeah, well, why would it be hard?
Like I don't like stuff like that, but like it doesn't like hurt my mouth to the point. Like I like toasted stuff, like toasted subs. We've had this debate before.
Yeah, I'm not a toasted guy.
No, that's fine. You do, dude.
Not a big fan.
The first problem you have there though is getting food at Tim Hortons.
Well, yeah, I guess.
Like Tim Hortons, like the only good thing at Tim Hortons is the coffee, and it's still not that good.
Well, yeah, I don't know what to say about that. I don't even drink the coffee, man. I'm a tea guy. Big tea guy.
I've been hot on the tea lately.
You said that the other day. You're getting him to be a big tea
getting heavy
guy.
on. It's good. I like it. It's tasty.
Tea is good though. I even
had a tea before my little party I had the other day.
Oh, really?
Pre-game.
A little cup of peppermint?
Nope. I'm just strictly Earl Grey with some French vanilla. It's like a poor man's London fog.
But you said you've actually been on the fogs lately, though. You're getting into it.
Yeah, they're good. And some lattes. I go to at school. If I get a coffee, I'll get like a nice vanilla latte or something. Speaking of
London fogs, Starbucks much better than Tim Hortons on the London fog.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, the Tim Hortons fog. It's pretty crappy.
Starbucks also.
I'm really hitting on Tim Hortons today.
I'm
sorry.
Starbucks breakfast sandwiches are legit.
Tim Hortons or Starbucks?
No, Starbucks. They're so good.
We had 2 this morning on the way home.
2 Tim Hortons sandwiches or 2 Starbucks sandwiches.
2 of them. We had a Gouda and the double smoked bacon
from Starbucks. It was
delicious.
Yeah, I like the
it was on a croissant.
The ham and Swiss one.
Oh yeah,
that one's my fave.
Well, you know, when you live downtown like yourself, when you're part of the downtown division, you're gonna end up getting on a few of the fancier. You're gonna get into some of the finer things of life.
Yeah, I've been indulging.
Wacey is cultured AF.
You see the places I go to now. He's fancy.
McDonald's.
Confession: I ordered McDonald's today. Skipped the dishes.
Oh, that's rough. Okay, so today, first day of the PBR World Finals. This podcast, we're recording this way out, but we got to like plan ahead. You know, we got to look at the calendar.
We're busy guys, got stuff going on.
Haven't even started the CFR yet, but today, like as we're recording this, CFR hasn't started, but actually it's over when we're publishing this.
Congrats to all the winners.
Yeah. Congrats. Hope you got, what a CFR.
Oh, it was awesome.
Okay, so PBR World Finals though today starts off. Who do you got for the world champ?
I got Jess.
You got Jess?
Yeah. Just with how dominant he's been on the
riding Heartbreak Kid. And I guess
high-end bulls.
He's riding those high-end bulls, going for the round wins. He's 496 points back, but isn't it 250 world points a round? Mm-hmm. And then 1250 for the average or something? Like it's a bunch of points at the World Finals. So 6 rounds is 1500 plus that, so it's like 3750 on the points.
Yeah, and I think he's gonna, like the way he's riding and like he's gonna roll into Vegas like he did last time he won the world and win the first 3 rounds.
Yeah, it's true, and then dominate it.
Yeah.
Riding percentage 64%,
and that's the highest, isn't it?
He's got on 103 bulls. What is it right here? 103 bulls, rode 66.
Yeah,
Lemme's been on 126, rode 74. He's a pile of bulls.
He's rode.
Whoa, That's in all the PBR.
Felisko tweeted out a stat too that Lockwood's rode 14 of like 18 championship round bulls or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
wow.
He converts in those high pressure and those good bulls. So
just one of our guys right here, Dakota Butter's been on 95 bulls and rode in 49, 52%, which is still really solid. Dakota going to his 4th World Finals.
That's awesome.
We got to amend our list based on the podcast because we had Dakota in our 10th spot last week, but we totally missed a few guys. Bob Robinson was one. He ended up being split in 10th. Had a few. I missed a Canadian title and then points for John Dodds. I already said Bob Robinson. Bob won the NFR in 1962. Won the average of the NFR.
Nice. That's badass.
Another thing, Wade Joyal had 3 PBR World Finals qualifications. He told me. I was talking to him on Facebook. He told me they had 3. Daryl Mills had another PBR World Finals qualification, 94. The year they started the PBR. He's one of the founding members.
So that solidifies his number 1 position.
Yeah, absolutely. But then again, it's kind of like he gets 20 points for making this and another 20 or 10 for making the World Finals, where in Cody's time he didn't have the PBR, so he might not have had the chance to get those other points. But still,
that's just relative to...
Yeah, still, we got Daryl number 1. So... That's the list. You know, I guess we could run down it again. Do you want to run down it again? No. Tanner Byrne we missed on the show too. Yeah. He wasn't in there in the beginning. Finished 8th in the world, and he finished 15th in a year on each side of that. So, I mean, that's the thing. We've had a little bit of discussion afterwards about people thinking that we should count the CFR, and nothing against anyone else, but that wasn't our intention. We weren't counting the top guys that make the CFR a number of different times. If you're going to put any points on it, I'd put 2 points on it, but then I got to find the stats on that, which has not been very easy to find because I'd have to go through all the programs and have to find results. I don't even know where the hell I would find results for the CFRs for previous years.
Yeah, you don't.
So,
and then and
it's not going to make much difference.
Well, we had 2 guys who were Canadian champions and competed at numerous CFRs and say,
don't need to count it.
There you go.
Yeah. So I'll stop worrying about that, and that's the list.
Back to our original question: who do you got for the PBR?
Oh, I think, man, I'd like to see Jess win, but I think I got to go with Lemme. I just think that guy rides really well, and nothing against Jess. Like I'd love to see him win too. If I'm gonna pick somebody, I think Lemme's in the lead, and he'll probably stay on all his bulls and win. I think.
Yeah, we can't see
the athlete that guy is. Though. Yeah, Outlaw, but the thing with the World Finals, though, is he's Outlaw, he's like, let's go back up to the top.
Over 1,000 points out, isn't he?
Yeah, 1,495. So that's a pretty big deficit to a race at the World Finals.
I guess you got to count on those other 2 guys not doing that.
They got to fall off everything, really, right?
Those are 2 guys
to make up 1,500 points.
Yeah, and
Chase has got to win the average and got to win some rounds. Like, it's a pretty big feat to get to race that kind of deficit.
For sure. It'll be a sweet race. Like, yeah. Pretty tight.
But Lemme has 2 full round wins of room to play with here. And I mean, Jess is going to draw, he might, I don't know what's going to happen, man. It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be exciting, yeah, for sure. It's always fun to watch. And
cool stat here on the PBR, though. The top 4 guys in the world have all made over $400,000.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
Those guys are getting paid.
In regular season earnings. And then all the top 10 have made at least $100,000. All but 2 have made over at least $200,000. Dylan Swearingen wins Edmonton. He's number 11 in the world, makes the NFR. How crazy is that for that guy? He said he's been on over 200 bulls this year.
That's crazy.
Isn't that insane?
And he's been relatively healthy. And he rode a bunch of bucking horses too.
He said this is his healthiest he's ever been. He told me that last night. Healthiest he's ever been.
He rides good, that kid.
Impressively good. Yeah. And could win Canada too. Who'd you pick for Canada for a Canadian title here?
I got Dakota.
Dakota, you think so? Man, I want to see Jared win.
I would be so happy to see Jared win, but just given how dominant Dakota is here.
But it's all going to come down to the finals. It's so
for
tight
sure.
now.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah.
And Jared's probably going to make the World Finals. Well, you'll know this week because you're probably listening, following along. But he might get to ride at the World Finals as an alternate. And then what else, man? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
You got Dakota?
Dakota, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go Jared. So you got number 1 in Canada for winning. I got number 1 in the world to win. You got number 2 in the world. I got number 2 in Canada.
Okay, that's good.
What else do we have in our... Let me look at the Canadian standings here again.
Well, Shea's really close still.
Yeah, Shea's right there. Yeah. He's still 3rd. I don't think Shea's going to ride all 4 bulls at the finals.
No, that's what I mean. If you were to give me someone to go into a weekend like that and ride 4 bulls, it's going to be Dakota.
Or maybe Jared, though.
Yeah, no, but you know what I mean.
Right?
Like those,
One or the other.
those two, out of the top 5 or those top 3.
Top 3, yeah.
Yeah, those are the 2 guys who are more likely to do it.
And we're just going off numbers here. Shea's been to 42 events, and technically that counts re-entry. So he's technically had 42 entries at events. He's gone 24 for 70, which is 34%. Dakota's been to 23 events. He's gone 25 for 39, which is 64%.
Yeah.
Parsons has been to 34 events. He's 36 for 62, riding at a 58% rate.
Yeah, so that's just proofs in the pudding right there.
Just the numbers. I'm just going numbers-wise. Parsonage and Butter are more likely to ride 4 bulls
100%,
in Saskatoon than Mark. So then you got Dalen Swearengin, been to 8 events. He's 9 for 16, 56%. Jordan Henson, number 5, 20 for 33, 60%.
Now, he's another guy who can do that too.
Oh yeah,
The way Jordy
and
rides.
with the way how, but the only thing with that is he's still 900 points back. Like that's quite a bit more to go back. I think this is mostly a 2-man race because you still do have the 250 points around, but like in the 1250 average, but like everybody else has got to they've got to finish 500 points behind you. Like you got to.
It's
Dakota and Jared have to like buck off 2 bulls.
Yeah,
they only got the max they can ride is 2, and they got to not place in the round. Everybody else got to win ride 3 or 4.
Yeah.
It's gonna be,
and the likelihood of that happening is very low, like you said. With
I think
with the world, yeah, like the likelihood of Jess and Jose not riding anything are very, very unlikely.
Very unlikely, yeah.
Yeah. So
that's that. Those couple things. I guess that kind of one more thing we want to talk about. We're just doing this whole first piece, and we're gonna go right into our interview this week, which are actually coming from the CFR. So these are all part of the show. So thanks for everybody for being part of the show this week at the CFR. Appreciate you being there. These are all our interviews coming from there, from the CFR Athlete Hot Stoves, hosted by me.
Are you guys gonna have a hot stove?
Stoves. That would be me.
Are you the hot stove?
I'm the hot stove.
You get a T-shirt that says hot stove on it?
I think they made that off of my last name. I think that's what they're going for because my name's Stovin. Pretty sure that's what they're up to.
It adds up. It tracks.
So there's that, and there's this, but the Posbon Foundation, the night before the PBR Finals, how about that?
Oh, yeah, the sportsman dinner.
Yeah, it's going to be dandy, isn't it?
Yeah, it'll be sweet. There's going to be some Curtis Decision's going to be there.
Yep.
And then some of the top PBR Canada guys.
Kelly Taylor, the comedian.
Exactly, yeah.
He's going to be a dandy.
I've never heard him, but I'm sure he's supposed to be really funny.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be a really fun night. Good way to raise some money for the foundation and get together with some people and do some mingling.
Yeah.
Some networking.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. Thanks, everybody, for supporting the event. If you haven't got tickets yet, check them out. PBR Canadian Finals is going to be a dandy, too, so make sure you get dialed in for that one. Going to be awesome. But here's our interview for the week. Thanks for listening. This is episode number 51 of Cowboy Shit with Ted and Wacey.
Bust it.
Hello, everyone. These are the Canadian Finals Rodeo Athlete Hot Stoves. Day number 1, CFR 46. Thanks to everyone for showing up this morning here. We got our 3 guests, and they're all the world champions from 2016. I'd like to introduce over on our right, to my right, your left, 2016 PRCA world champion saddle bronc rider, Mr. Zeke Thurston.
How's it going?
Thanks for coming down,
thanks
Zeke.
for having
Appreciate it. Yeah. Going to be a fun morning here. We're going to BS a little bit and have a bit of fun. Introduce everyone to you guys a little bit more, and this being the CFR's 75th anniversary, I thought what better way with the theme being history today than bring on the 3 guys who I think brought greatest moment in Canadian rodeo history for you guys to all 3 win the world the same year. I think that's the greatest stamp in Canadian pro rodeo history. So what a better way to start off than having you 3 here. In the middle, we've got Mr. Jeremy Buhler. He's a 2-time and reigning Canadian champion, 2017 and 2018. Also, the 2016 world champion healer, Mr. Jeremy Buhler.
Hello.
Fear the beard, right? Where's those T-shirts? I thought you might have brought some with you.
No, I don't. I think they're done. Yeah.
Oh, it's over now? Oh.
I shaved and then it was gone.
And then it's gone?
They disappeared, yeah.
So how long has this one been? Like, where are we at on this beard right now?
I want to say this one's maybe 2 months.
2 months worth?
Yeah.
Okay. This is like 2 months too. Been working on it. You too, Zeke? Yeah. And on our right, he's a 4-time Canadian champion, the 2016 world champion header, Mr. Levi Simpson, from just up the road in Pinoka,
Howdy.
Alberta. Thanks for coming, Levi.
Thanks for having me here.
I want to start first question off with you here, Levi. You've been to, I want to say, this is your 10th CFR this year already, isn't it?
It's 11th now, yeah.
Yeah, so 11 CFRs, 4-time Canadian champion. The first Canadian title was in 2011, and the last one was last year with Jerry here. And the money's changed a few times, and I think there's somebody in this crowd here that we got to thank for that.
Yes, sir. The first time I came to the Canadian Finals was 2009. I had an extremely good finals, and I think I won a total of $9,000. So to be able to come here the last 2 years and have equal money in the team room has been amazing. There's been a huge group of guys behind that, and Jeff Robson's one of the biggest instigators in that, and the support of all the other events and timed event and rough stock reps that backed us the last few years trying to get that pushed through has been amazing.
Jeremy, let's talk about your experience here at the CFR and how that money's changed for you as well to be able to make this a real living for a guy.
Yeah, kind of like Levi said, the first year that I made it, I mean, we didn't light the finals on fire or anything, but I think we made same deal, 9 or 11,000, somewhere in there, and we thought that was pretty good at that time. And then, last year we kind of snuck into the finals at the last rodeo and ended up winning the whole deal. I think we won 53,000 or something, and it's actually taken it from the first year that we started roping. Everybody kind of joked about, oh, well, if he's roping for a living, ha ha ha, sort of thing, to now the last few years we actually have been roping for a living and able to, get a play spot and, get ahead financially. And yeah, there's a lot of guys to thank that have put in timeless hours helping that and making that possible.
And Zeke, this is your 5th CFR this year, and all 3 of you are world champions, and these 2 guys are Canadian champions, but that's one thing that's eluded you in your career so far.
Yeah, I've come pretty close a few times. I've been the bridesmaid, but hopefully that's not the case this year.
What's it going to take to win? You've been second on 3 different occasions, but what's it going to take to get that title?
Oh, I've always come in with, having to make up a lot of ground. First place has got 50,000 on me, and I've closed the gap substantially the last couple of years, but now this year I'm the guy that's got the big lead, and I don't know, just consistency, just making good rides, doing what you got control of, not making a big deal out of the situations and just rolling on. You do what you do. That's what got you here.
And look, we were talking before, and I think it was Jeremy. You were asking Zeke about the horsepower compared to from here to the States and how it differs throughout the season, and how you guys were talking about that. I thought that was interesting across events.
Yeah, it is. Everything's improving so much throughout rodeo. Like my dad, he rodeoed for a long time. Had a good career. Made the NFR 6 times, CFR multiple times, and watch old tapes of him, and you watch the bucking horses. They all just clatter down the arena, and like they wouldn't even come close to getting picked to go to any finals nowadays. And Canada has been known for kind of creating the Born to Buck program, producing great bucking horses, big bucking horses, got bone to them that can take the haul and take the abuse and last a long time. And pretty grateful to learn to ride broncs in a country that has that quality of stock. No different for these guys. They're the horses that they're riding now are way better than they were 20 years ago, and it's getting to where I can make a living with my bronc saddle, and they can make a living with their rope, and I think that's pretty cool. I think it's only going to go up from here.
Speaking of horses, let's talk about what you guys are riding this week. Just give us a rundown on the horses you brought this week here to the Canadian Finals. Start with you, Jeremy.
I just brought one. He's an 8-year-old gelding. I call him Pork Chop. He's since I retired my dun horse a couple of years ago. He's sort of been between hay and grass, and I cracked him out at the finals last year, and he did really well. And then this year it was all pretty much just turnkey, get on and go. So he's the only one I have right now, but I've got 4 or 5 other ones that are coming along pretty good.
What's it take to get a horse to this level? It's got to be a lot of work, or you got to spend a lot of money.
Yeah, and even if you do spend a lot of money, that's no guarantee that they're going to be the perfect fit. The the dun horse that I had, I think I gave $7,500 for him. And I mean, he made my career, won a lot on him, so I think that just goes to show you can give a lot of money for the right kind of horse, but at the end of the day, it still has to have the right fit. But making them, that's a whole different ball game. You got to borderline be obsessed with it. It's not like okay, well, we're going to rope twice this week and hopefully he comes along. Like, my girlfriend and the people I'm with, they can vouch for it. It's an every single day on those green ones going back and forth. Okay, I think he's going to be good enough. Okay, but I don't know if I like this. And it's kind of you got to be really passionate about it, or you're going to burn out in a hurry if you're making your own.
That's where having this added payout at a rodeo like this, or like Levi, you won $30,000 the other day in Oklahoma, being able to win this kind of money and compete for this kind of money on a normal basis, it makes it viable for you guys to do this.
Yeah, absolutely. To have the events and the platforms for us to compete for this kind of money now. Last year, like Jeremy said, we won 53 or 4,000 up here, and then last week at a jackpot in Oklahoma, 30,000 to win that. I mean, that goes a long ways now as far as trying to make a living roping, because anymore, like if you're the time and the effort that goes into making one of your own. If you're looking to buy one of them nowadays, guys are pricing them anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000+. So, not only making a living, you're going to have to win a lot of money just to keep yourself in that kind of horsepower. If you don't have the time or can't make your own. But this week, I'm fortunate to be able to ride my old faithful horse again. His name's Fraser. He's 24 years old this year. This will be his 11th finals as well. So far, I think I've been to 10 finals, which is 60 steers. He's run 57 of them. So I've only roped 3 steers on something else at these finals. So, I'm blessed to have that horse still kicking and doing his best job for me. And hopefully, he can bring me some, fortune this week.
With that horse being 24 years old, you were born in 87. So how long have you had him? You would have got him when you're maybe like 10 or so?
Yeah, I bought the horse when he was 4 years old. So I've had the horse in my possession for 20 years. As a 4-year-old, we started him heeling and calf roping a little bit. And, I competed on him in high school rodeo and everything since then. He's been kind of the go-to for everything. And, his career is pretty small right now. He lives at Cooley Equine, stays in shape and stays, at his best so that whenever I do need him, he's ready for me to use.
So does he end up only going to a few places now? What would his schedule look like at 24?
Yeah, his schedule, like in the past year, normally he just goes to the small buildings. He went to maybe 8 rodeos this year, 1 jackpot. I did ride him at Medicine Hat, the jackpot over there, and got the win on him there too as well. So, but other than that, yeah, he stays in shape year round so that he doesn't age too bad. And as long as he's in shape, he's been healthy and sound. And now I have the opportunity to ride him again at the finals here and hopefully do some good.
Hopefully get that 5th Canadian title.
That would be the idea. Yes, sir.
Jerry, I want to go back to you. We talked about all 3 of you being world champions. You were a world champion before you were a Canadian champion. I just want to touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was something that whenever it happened, it wasn't something that I thought of, and then somebody said it, and it was kind of like I think it just kind of goes to show you how you can get on a roll and things go your way. And I mean, I'd honestly never really planned on winning a world championship, which sounds bad, but I think that it's so challenging to do that my goal was always to make it to the finals. I always wanted to win a Canadian title and thought that I would one day. But after I won the world, it dang sure I was kind of lit a fire. I really wanted to win Canada after that, and then luckily the year after we did.
And won again last year as well.
Yeah, last year was about as storybook of a finals as you can have. It was, I think I roped a leg on the first year, and then after that it was it was lights out. It was good.
And then you guys chose to go different ways at the end of last year, beginning of 2019. Let's just talk about that a little bit on the change in roping partners. I'm curious about that a little bit.
Yeah, I think we roped together for 4 years. We never had a crossed word. We never upset. It was, I thought we were a really great team, but, last year was kind of a struggle. I think that you can almost rope with the same guy for so long that it gets to the point where, I don't know, it's hard to explain. I know that, I feel like since we've done something different, I think that, roping with a different guy, it changes you, gives you different viewpoints. You start, focusing on different things, where I think you kind of end up, when you're roping with the same guy every year, you're kind of like in the same groove all the time. And I think that it's a important thing for growing and learning and getting better is to, rope with someone else. And then I think it sort of well rounds your game a little bit better.
I want to go back to you here, Zeke. We kind of left you sitting for a while, but you were 94 points this year in Pollockville on special delivery, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So 94 points, that's only 1 point off of the world record. And those other two 95s also happened in Canada. And there was a guy this summer, Mr. Doug Vold. Tell us about the story there. That was in Regina, wasn't it? He was telling you that you should have been a few more points that day?
Yeah, Doug, he is one of the record holders. He was 95, and I think it was Coronation back in the 80s on a horse called Transport. And when Doug heard I was 94, almost got his record, he was talking a lot of smack, but it's probably a good thing they didn't let me be 95 or 96, 95 and a half, beat his record. It probably would have broke his spirits pretty bad, but he's living high on that accomplishment. But no, really good horse at Calgary's. I actually just got on him here the other day in North Dakota at a bronc match, and it's typically a bareback horse and stud horse, really bucks hard. They put him in the bronc riding, and he's an awesome bronc. I think he's going to stay there for a while, but he, it was one of them horses you can't wait to get on.
Levi, I want to go back to you with these 4 different Canadian titles. Which one's been your favorite so far? Which one stands out the most to you in those 4 different instances?
Well, I mean, it'd be hard to separate them. They all mean a lot to me. Each time that you can come to a Canadian Finals and compete against the field of guys that you do that are here and be able to come out on top winning a Canadian title, it means a lot to me. The first one in 2011 was an awesome experience. I mean, growing up, that's kind of my dream, was always to win a Canadian title. So to be able to do that in the first time, 2011, was awesome. I would say, like Jeremy said earlier, last year was probably one of the most storybook ones that we could have had. Our regular season wasn't very good. We struggled through the year. Came down literally to the last rodeo and about $50 to whether or not Jerry was even going to get to come. So just to compete here last year was amazing for both of us. And then to be able to have the finals that we did, to go out on top like that and secure a Canadian title 2 in a row. I think that's only been done once before in the team roping as well. So some of those things that really stand out to me. It's amazing to have those accomplishments and to have done that with Jeremy has been awesome as well.
Jerry, speaking of that, let's go back to the early part of your career. You said you rode the same horse the entire time, and 2009 you were in the World Series of team roping. Talk about how much that jump-started your career and set you on the path to be a professional roper.
That win was pretty much everything. I don't know if I would have been sort of catapulted into a career in roping if that wouldn't have came along. I know a lot of times when someone gets a big hit like that, they're like, man, I needed the money. But, like, I really needed the money. I had
Like, how broke were you? Let's get into that a little bit further.
I swear on everything, no exaggeration, I had $40 in my account.
$40?
Yeah.
And then you go to Vegas and you win $100,000 US.
Yeah, 109 US. Yeah, I had to cash one of the round checks to get home. And, I mean, it was dramatic that way, but I was roping with my big brother there, you know what I mean? And that's, your family. So I knew that I'd be able to get back home one way or the other. So it's not like I was going to be sleeping in the streets, but just that win alone, I mean, I went from not having a trailer, having one horse in a 96 Dodge that, to being able to buy a couple more horses and the right saddles and a trailer. And it just kind of set me up where I could jackpot that whole year. Being 22 years old, winning $109,000 where I'd never had any money before. I thought I'd never see another poor day. And that lesson was probably the best thing that ever happened to me. I think I burnt through that money in about a year and a half. There was nothing left of it. And, after that, getting the big hits like at the finals that year and even the Canadian Finals last year, is that it changes the way that you look at it, lets you be a little bit smarter with it financially after you've kind of learned a few lessons the hard way.
But you didn't have any left, but you had a new truck, you had a decent trailer, like you probably invested some in horses, like you had a few things to look back at.
Yeah, and that's what I always kind of laugh about. Out of all that money, I think I spent $3,000 on a little sorrel mare, and I rode her, and then I ended up selling her, and then that's kind of how I justified keeping the money in circulation. I sold her and did real good on her, so it kind of kept things rolling. But yeah, mostly that. The most valuable thing I got from that win probably was blowing that money and like learning that.
Learning the money management.
Learning the money management end of it.
Well, it's kind of like I was reading a story on the NHL guys and their salaries and how much they actually get to keep, and how some of them, they'll sign a big contract and then they'll burn through it all. It's kind of a similar thing as your first big win and you go and spend through a bunch of it. But like you said, you learned a bunch from that.
Yeah, exactly. And, it's no different. I think a lot of those professional sports, even football, stuff like that. And I mean, rodeoing is a little bit different because we don't just graduate high school or graduate university and then next thing you know, you have 10 million. So it hurts a little bit more whenever you do burn through that money because January 1st rolls around. It's not like you're getting that check again for your yearly contract. But yeah, it's a totally similar deal. I think everybody, you just got to go through it, and the growing pains, same deal. Best lessons are usually, the ones that hurt the most.
Very true. Well, and some of the best memories, I want to go back to Vegas in 2016. That night you guys all won. I'd been working as media for, I think it was my 7th NFR by that time, but we were in there, and usually it's really quiet. You're not supposed to say anything. And then as soon as you guys win, it's just total chaos. And everybody's chucking woos everywhere you look. Like, it was just total chaos. It was awesome.
That was thanks to Casper Roy.
Casper, yeah, I was going to say it's his fault. But it was like everybody was, I think I got a few in there by the end of it.
Yeah, that's how it was. Casper's been my best friend for a long time. He was in that practice pen every day with me for the 10 years prior to that. It was a huge deal, but yeah, they probably needed a censor, a censor in there for the yelling and the words and stuff like that. But it was cool. You look back, and that's some of the funnest parts about it.
Oh yeah. Well, and I think that I might have saw every one of you guys cry that night, and your family was there too. And it was like, what stands out the most for you though from that evening? Like, what do you remember most from that night?
Probably the funniest thing, and they actually made a rule about it at the finals now. How they put everybody back behind the chutes whenever they walk you out to get your gold buckle or whatever.
Yeah.
They got like the smoke deal running, and it's dark, it's blacked out or whatever. Well, all of a sudden, my girlfriend Katie comes running through the smoke, like from the arena into the back where everybody's at. Security guards chasing her, get her. And what had happened was my older brother Justin and Casper actually, being all buzzed up, they threw her into the arena. You got to get back there.
Oh no!
So now I think it's like a $1,500 fine or something for that.
Really?
So that was sort of that stands out as one of the funnier deals to me.
Oh wow! What about you, Zeke?
Oh, it was just a good moment, like you said, for Canadian rodeo, and that's the Super Bowl of our sport. It's a pretty emotional time because that's the peak, that's the pinnacle of what we do, and it was pretty awesome just to share it with these guys and family, and just we're riding and roping for a whole country and not just a state. It's kind of special. My daddy come down there. My daddy knows what it takes. He rodeoed for a long time and made the finals a lot and had a successful career. And he said, I may not have been a world champion, but I raised one, and that was kind of cool.
Oh yeah, I remember that being one of the highlights because I think I was close by and I overheard it, and then he broke down. Like it was one of the coolest things that I remember from that. I remember from Jeremy, you staring at the buckle. And that ended up being a picture that the Team Roping Journal picked up that was kind of iconic from that year, I thought, just being so enthralled with winning that gold buckle, something you've dreamed of forever.
Yeah, it was it was a special good night for sure.
Levi, what about yourself?
Yeah, same thing. I mean, to have that accomplishment there, the greatest thing for me was to have my family there, and my I think Annie was my daughter at the time. She was born in February, so she wasn't even a year old yet, and to share that experience with my family and having them there was awesome. I remember they're pretty quick to try to whisk me off back to the media back there, and I had to actually stop the lady and make her give me my phone. The first thing I did was call my wife that was in the stands and call her and told her what, that we won it or whatever. And then by the time we got to the media rooms, it took us, I don't know, probably took me 20 minutes before I could even talk to anybody. I was so emotional I couldn't say anything. And I still remember the moment. I don't know about Jerry, but both of us, I don't think we believed we even won it until our interview that we thought was for winning the average.
Really?
They said to us, they're like, no, you won the world, and we're on in like 3, 2, 1. And so
wow.
I have that video saved on my phone. It's kind of funny to watch all the time because they pretty much, Katie Kaufman pretty much told us right there that we had officially won the world. We just thought we were getting interviewed for the average. So that one stands out a little bit because it got me pretty choked up in the interview and it was pretty tough to speak. But having my family there and sharing that moment with them it's something I'll have with me for the rest of my life.
That what did your face look like at that moment when you were like, I'm a world champ? Like what did that look like? You have it on your phone. I'm kind of curious what it looked like.
I might have to get that to you. It's pretty much instant shock, and I think I just looked at Buhler and was like, I hope you can speak.
That is incredible. I couldn't believe the night. Like the night before, we were looking at the numbers and everything, and you guys were all three of you were really long shots technically, right? Like you had moved up to like Zeke, you were about, where were you, 4th, 5th, 6th? Like you're a ways out. You don't know? Yeah. And you guys were all a ways off. Like stuff had to fall exactly right. A couple guys missed out horses for you. Like it all worked just right, and it was just so cool.
Yeah, leading up to that night, like even the night before or that day of the rodeo, in the conversation, we weren't even in it of the potentials.
None of you.
They never, they show all the guys that they project to win or all that stuff.
Yeah.
I never seen either one of us. And I remember being back, once you're in the media room, you don't really get to see any of the rest of it. And Jerry and I were celebrating and there was lots of chaos going on. And then all of a sudden Zeke just pops out of nowhere holding the gold buckle. And we're like, holy crap, you won it too? Like, that's when we kind of had a bunch of more chuck and woos. And it was pretty cool to see Zeke come back there with it because, like I said, we don't get to see the rodeo or even hear it once you're back in that media room.
Yeah,
so.
It's on a few TVs, but it's kind of like once you guys are talking to everyone because you got to do 1,000 interviews that night and talk to every single person. It's kind of you don't get to see it. That was because I think I was almost talking to you guys when Zeke won. By the time we actually got to visit with you, you had won the world too. It was way cool. Something I'll never forget. So I'm happy for you guys to be here today. Thanks for all showing up this morning and being here on the show. Well, we've got a few minutes left here. I just want to finish off with a couple quick pieces. One thing I wanted to ask Levi and Jeremy here. You guys both have brothers that rope too. Why don't you guys rope with your brothers? Or you could probably do a little bit, but let's go into that a bit.
I actually did rope with my brother. He cracked me out. He'd made it to the CFR before me, and so I roped with him for I think 2 years, and I'm pretty thankful for that because it's it can be a tough deal out here. I've been really lucky with some of the partners that I've had, but when you're a guy that's green, just starting out and learning the ins and outs and making dumb mistakes, it's pretty special whenever you are open with your brother, and even if you do make the most retarded mistake ever, they're usually pretty forgiving and or mine always was. And then after that, I remember it kind of came down to it where I was craving rodeoing down south. I wanted to, be all in, and with him, he kind of had other things on the go. He had, a wife and a house, and you know what I mean? He wasn't really wanting to go down that road. So it was sort of one of those deals where we said, all right, well, we still joke all the time that we're, still gonna rope together or switch ends or do whatever, because those were some really good years. But that's sort of the main thing I think is he just wasn't really craving being home all summer long or whatever, which to me is totally understandable, and I respect that he wanted to stay home and kind of take care of business and stuff.
Yeah, and my story is actually kind of the same. When I first started my pro rodeo career, I was roping with my brother. At the time, though, I was heeling.
Okay.
I started off the year in 2008 heeling for my brother, which didn't go very well on my behalf. It didn't take me long to realize that I'm not a very good rodeo healer. So I think just after Ponoka, we actually decided to switch ends, and I started heading for him, and we actually had a pretty decent year. As far as that, we really didn't miss the finals by that much. But at the time, we both had, I wanted to head because I sucked at heeling, and he had two really good head horses and some good options for healers. So the next year, we both moved on and went to heading. So that's kind of why we had separated a little bit there. But I've always still kind of roped with him now at the jackpots because he's back to healing now. And actually, funny enough, the Clint and Chase are roping together.
Oh, really?
This past year, yeah. So they had a good season in the CCA finals and not too bad at showing the pro rodeos this year. So I don't know if they're going to continue that partnership, but it was kind of interesting that they roped together. It's kind of funny. There's still a Buhler Simpson team out there.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we got, we'll finish things up here. I just want to ask you guys one more question. The Alberta High School Rodeo Association booth's right here over behind us. And Jerry, you didn't go to the Alberta High School Rodeos, but you would have went in BC, right?
Yeah, I rodeoed for 2 years in the high school rodeos in BC. Yeah.
So those probably weren't your first rodeos, but I just want to go back to how your rodeo story began. Like, Zeke, let's start with you. Where was the first one? How'd you get going? From the first one to the world champ, I just want to hear where the first one was.
Oh, I just kind of come up through it like any other rodeo kid would. I was raised in a rodeo family, both sides of my family, deep rodeo roots. And like I said, my daddy, that's, what he did when he was my age and was good at it. And that's all I can ever remember wanting to do. We started, we just tortured all the bucket calves, rode them, rode sheep, we rode a lot, horseback lots, just helping my dad, move cows and work cattle and stuff. And that's just what started roping, I guess, a little bit when I was probably, 10 or so. And then we went to a few junior rodeos and then just kind of went through the stepping stones, I guess. I rode steers, won a Canadian title doing that. And then, I just moved on to novice bronc riding and high school rodeoing, and I did a lot of events in high school. I roped calves, team roped, rode bulls, rode broncs, won a lot of all-arounds and things like that, and went to the high school finals, the nationals every year, I think, and at least a couple events, and then I went to college for a couple years, kind of picked my favorite events. I team roped and roped calves and rode broncs, and had a lot of success there. Ended up not winning the college title, but the reserve by half a point to a good friend Coburn Bradshaw, who's he's an amazing bronc rider, great guy, and so that was a lot of fun. Kind of ride against guys that you're riding against now, and just rolled on in my rookie year, and away we went.
Mm-hmm. Well, Jerry, let's go to you. First rodeo. Where did it all start for you?
Mine was a little bit different than most other people. I'm not one that was really raised in a rodeo family. My parents were always interested in sort of like riding horses and stuff like that. And mine actually kind of came down to, it's funny when you think back, sort of the random things that happen that lead you down different paths. But my mom was actually working at a grocery store, and a guy wearing a cowboy hat walked through her till, and he was going roping, and she just kind of asked him about it or whatever. And he said, yeah, you guys should come check it out. And I mean, we went and watched the roping, and then next thing you know, that year for Christmas, my dad made us a roping dummy, and that's sort of where I think I learned how to time steers. He had it set up with a rope where he pulled the feet and went back and forth, and I was probably 7 or 8 years old at that point in time, and then after that, it was just obsession kind of took over. It always just kind of found a way to stick together with my brothers and cross paths with a lot of good people that all helped us out in different ways and kind of mushed us along till we got to where we were now. But if I was 8 or 9 then, I probably started going to like Little Britches rodeos and stuff when I was, 12 or 13, and then same high school rodeoed a couple years. And then, after that, just kind of jackpotting and stuff till I went to college. And then there, like college, I mean, I was sort of a late bloomer as far as roping goes. I was still pretty low numbered when I was 18 or 19 years old, but college was the first place where I could rope every single day and was actually like expected to rope every single day. And once I kind of got that structure and got to work at it like that, the obsession level just was huge.
Levi, let's finish with you and we'll wrap up the show here.
Yeah, my rodeo career, same. I grew up in a family that they never really rodeoed much. My grandpa and my dad both team roped a lot, and when they were young, they high school rodeoed and stuff like that. But then they were both guide outfitters and stuff. So I grew up around riding horses and all that stuff a lot. But I went a different route for a long time. I played hockey and did all that stuff until I was about 13. And then the turning point was my brother was into team roping and roping a lot, and he'd been amateur rodeoing and started a pro rodeo a little bit when he got into high school, and he was winning money and I was playing hockey not, so I decided I'd better go join him team roping, and so I started team roping a little bit, and then my first rodeos would have been the Chinook Rodeo Association. I started breakaway roping when I was 13 and made the Chinook finals a few times doing that, and then just progressed through the jackpots and team roping world to I amateur rodeoed probably for about a year, and then I figured I'd try the pro rodeos out, and went from there. Awesome.
Well, thanks you guys for being here again today. This was great to reunite the three of you. We haven't, I don't know if we've done that ever since that night in Vegas. So I appreciate you guys for all being here. Thanks for being on the first show, the first athlete hot stove here at the Canadian Finals. And my first rodeo story actually was in Edmonton in 2002. I went and watched, or it was 2001. I went and watched the CFR, and I told my dad that I wanted to be a steer rider at the finals the next year. So I kind of grew up around it a little bit, but that's how I got my start. I didn't really turn out as an athlete, but still cool to still be involved. So thanks for letting me be a part of it this way, guys. So yeah, now I'm Jasper, right? I said on one time, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for having us. Appreciate it. And hopefully we can come back.
Hey, good luck tonight. I guess Flint has his show in Vegas, and he has a lucky couch. So hopefully this is like, see you guys all win the round tonight. It'd be ideal.
We'll see you tomorrow morning.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, we'll see you in the media room after the perf.
Sounds good, guys. All right, this has been the Athlete Hot Stove for day one at CFR 46.